Hello, this is Sujit Jagtap. In the last video we discussed on how to set up the Hadoop environment. So now in this video we will take a close look at the classes and their methods that are involved in the operations of MapReduce programming. So we will primarily keep our focus on these four following classes alone. That's the job context interface, job class, mapper class and reducer class. So the job context interface is the super interface for all the classes which defines different jobs in MapReduce. It gives you a read-only view of the job that is provided to the tasks while they are running. So these following sub-interfaces of job context interface are the map context and the reduce context. The map context defines the context that's given to the mapper, and you have the reduce context that defines the context that's passed to the reducer. Then we have the job class. So job class is the main class that implements the job context interface. The job class is the most important class in the overall MapReduce API. It allows the user to configure the job, submit it, control its execution and query the state. The set methods only work until the job is submitted, after which they will throw an illegal state exception. Normally, the user creates the application, describes the various facets of the job and then submits the job and monitors its progress. So these are some of the important methods of job class as follows. The get job name method is the user specified job name. Then we have the get job state that returns the current state of the job. Then we have this method called as is complete that checks if the job is either finished or not. Then the fourth method goes by the name set input format class that sets the input format for the job. Then we have set job name that sets the user specified job name. Then the sixth one is set output format class method that sets the output format for the job. Then we have set mapper class that sets the mapper for the job, and so as the set reducer class 2 that sets the reducer for the job. Then we have set partitioner class method that sets the partitioner for the job. Then the final one is set combiner class method that sets the combiner for the job. Then we have the mapper class. The mapper class defines the map job within the MapReduce program, that's the Java file. Maps input key value pairs to a set of intermediate key value pairs, where maps are the individual tasks that transform the input records into intermediate records. The transformed intermediate records need not be of the same type as the input records. A given input pair may map to 0 or many output pairs. So the syntax of the map method is given in this simple command. This is the snapshot taken from the terminal window. So map is the most prominent method of the mapper class. This method is called once for each key value pair in the input split. I repeat, this method, that's the map method, is called once for each key value pair in the input split. Then we have the reducer class. The reducer class defines the reduce job in the MapReduce programming. It reduces a set of the intermediate values that share a key to a smaller set of values. Reducer implementations can access the configuration for a job via the job context.get configuration method. A reducer basically has three phases, that's the shuffle, sort and reduce. So this is the simple syntax snapshotted from the terminal window of the reducer. So as mentioned above, these are the three primary phases of the reducer class. The first one goes by the name of shuffle, where the reducer copies the sorted output from each mapper using HTTP across the network. Then we have the sort, where the framework merge sorts the reducer inputs by keys, where the shuffle sort phases occur simultaneously. That is, while outputs are being fetched, they are merged. Then finally we have the reduce. So in this phase, the reduce, where the object, iterable and context method is called for each key with respect to the collection of values in the sorted inputs. Reduce is one of the most prominent method of the reducer class, and with all this we will go for the Hadoop implementation of MapReduce. So MapReduce is basically a framework that is used for writing applications to process huge volumes of data on large clusters of commodity hardware in a reliable manner. So generally, MapReduce paradigm is based on sending MapReduce programs to computers where the actual data resists. So during a MapReduce job, Hadoop sends map and reduce tasks to appropriate servers in the cluster. The framework manages all the details of data passing, like issuing tasks, verifying task completion, and copying data around the cluster between the nodes. Most of the computing takes place on the nodes with data on local disks that reduces the network traffic. After completing a given task, the cluster collects and reduces the data to form an appropriate result and sends it back to the Hadoop server. So this is a basic sequence of how the data is imputed to the map phase and how it gets converted to an intermediate form, that's the key value pair, and the respective shuffle phase takes place, and those shuffled inputs or the shuffle key value pairs are given to the reduce class, and then the required output will be written to the output file. As we all know that the MapReduce framework operates on key value pairs, that is, the framework views the input to the job as a set of key and value pairs and produces a set of key value pairs as the output of the job, conceivably of different types. The key and value classes have to be serializable by the framework, and hence it is required to implement the writable interface. Additionally, the key classes have to implement the writable comparable interface to facilitate sorting by the framework. Both the input and output format of a MapReduce job are in the form of key value pairs. Here we can see that the map's input will be a key and a value, and its respective output will be a list containing a number of keys and values. So that particular output will be imputed to the reduce job, where one specific key will be looking for a couple of values that's been transformed from the map phase. So output of this will give out a list of key and values. So the basic idea of this MapReduce implementation is that assume we have to write an application for the rising scale of an given input, that is, assume we have to analyze the electrical consumption of all the large scale industries of a particular state or country. When we write applications to process such bulk data, they will take a lot of time to execute, and there will be heavy network traffic when we move data from the source to the network server. To solve these problems, we have the MapReduce framework. So with no delay, and from all these slides and knowledge that we have gained so far, we will simply move on to execute how input data should be moved to the HDFS framework of Hadoop and process the given data so that we get a desired output. So now let's look of how to run a MapReduce job on the Hadoop cluster. So far we have seen on how to set up an Hadoop cluster, and we also saw what are the necessary APIs required for an MapReduce programming. So with no further delay, we will look at the simple and conventionally used word count example for training purpose, and I will just make you go through this word count, that's Java program, so that I will show you how it's executed on the Hadoop cluster. So we simply import all the necessary packages and make sure you include this line, that's package space Hadoop semicolon. Okay, I'll let you know why. And as this is a Java program, make sure your main class is the same as the file name of the Java program. So this is the mapper class. And this is the reducer class. And finally you have the main function. Now since this is a simple program, we won't be having more mappers and reducers, but in case if you have a huge bad job where you involve a lot of mappers and reducers, you can configure each job with its specific class names in the configuration section that's here. Say for example, if you have each mapper for a job, say mapper job 1, that's the class name, then you can specify it here. Say for example mapper 1 dot class and so forth, okay, within the braces. But since this is not a simple program of a word count, I am not including any such names here. Okay, it will take the default name or the default compiled Java program. So in order to make sure this works, I have already executed the code, and I'll just make you go through the commands that I have used to execute the code. So first we'll be using this SSH space localhost to make sure your SSH is up and running. If not, please refer the first video on how to restart the services of an SSH. Okay, if this works, and then you go to execute this JPS command to make sure your node manager, resource manager, your data node and name nodes are up and running, to make sure your MapReduce program gets executed. Okay, you can again confirm that your Hadoop cluster is up and running by simply accessing that local host with port number 9870 to make sure your name node is up and your data node is up. That's the port number 9864. Okay, so then this is the command to compile the Java code, where the segments are like you specify the Java C space hyphen class path, and you mention the Hadoop core jar file that has to be downloaded from the internet. So before executing your MapReduce program, you have to make sure that you download this Hadoop core jar file that has all the necessary libraries to run the mapper and reducer tasks. Okay, you can access this mun repository URL to download the necessary Hadoop core file. So under this mun repository, you have this Hadoop core version 1.2.1, and if you click this view all under the file section, you will get a list of files, where the first one that says Hadoop core 1.2.1.jar is the actual file, and you have to download this file that's around 4 MB. Okay, download that file. Inside your home directory, create a Hadoop directory and place that file here. So this is the jar file that will be accessed by the MapReduce jobs. So after you do this, you also create a folder or directory named Hadoop jobs. Okay, so this function here, you create another folder called as Hadoop within this, where we have mentioned package space Hadoop semicolon, right? So if this program gets executed without any errors, each class file, that's your mapper, your reducer and your main function classes will be saved into this Hadoop folder. Okay, we'll see how this thing works. So after doing all this, you can simply execute this specific command. Okay, so once you execute this command, all your class files get generated within this directory. If this is done, you can go for the next command where you tell the terminal to generate a jar file for your MapReduce execution. So jar space hyphen the functions that C, V and F, and you give a name for your jar file. I have given this name called as Hadoop job underscore 1 dot jar, and I give this option of hyphen C, and I mention where the class files are. Okay, so here my class files are inside Hadoop jobs. Okay, so I have mentioned that here. Okay, and if this command gets executed and if all the class files have been added successfully, then a jar file will be generated, that's around here, Hadoop job underscore 1 dot jar. Okay, so if this is done successfully, you can go for the next command where you instruct the Hadoop cluster to create an input directory inside the HDFS file system, so that you can copy all the input data, that's the text files or comma separated value files or so on, into the HDFS file system. The command goes like $Hadoop underscore home slash bin slash Hadoop space fs. You instruct the file system to create or make a directory, and you say the path of the file name, that's forward slash input. Okay, and then we simply copy the input that's in your local directory. So my input is right here. So I have a paragraph here that has the file name of text.txt. Okay, so I will be copying this input into my HDFS directory that I have created right now, that's input. Okay, so this command will be instructing the Hadoop cluster to move my input file from a local directory into the HDFS directory. Okay, if this is done successfully, you can check if the file is actually placed into the HDFS file system with this specific command, that's $Hadoop underscore home forward slash bin forward slash Hadoop space fs space hyphen ls space input. Okay, so the terminal tells us that there's one file named text. Okay, so with this getting confirmed, we can directly run the main command to get the MapReduce job executed. So this is the command to do that, where the command goes by $Hadoop underscore home slash bin slash Hadoop space jar space the file name of the jar that's been created, that's here, Hadoop job underscore 1 dot jar, and then Hadoop dot word count, that's the file that's created here, the class file, this one. So you have the word count class file here, you specify that here, and then you specify the input that you have created in the previous command, specify that directory here, and then you give a name for the output directory. I have given the name /output. Always don't forget to have this / before your directory name, okay. And if your code has 0 errors, there will be this huge execution going on where you can see the MapReduce job here. If there's no error, you can clearly see that the map and reduce jobs have completed successfully with 100% execution. So I am showing this here because in case if there's any error on the reduce part alone, then it will clearly say that your mapper has been executed and the intermediate key value pairs have been generated successfully, but the reduce phase has a couple of errors and the reduce phase didn't get executed, okay. So you can simply modify that part of code alone, okay. For huge jobs, what developers do is like they have separate Java files for mappers and reducers, okay, so that identifying and rectifying errors will be of ease. So if you see all that 100% up there, you can directly check the output, okay. So this is the command to do that. $hadoop_home /bin /hadoop space fs space ls, that's you list the files that's been created into this output directory in the HDFS file system. So we have two files here. One says the state of the job that took place, and the other one is the file name of the output that's been created, okay. You can also verify this in your browser, okay, where here we have the entry, okay. So this is the name that we gave, word count, okay. This is the user that executed it and the ID for it. We have all the timeline here and number of containers and so forth will be listed here, okay. So most of the states here are not applicable because this job is already executed and over. I'm just showing you what has been executed, okay. If you execute it for the first time, you will see all the necessary information in your web browser. So if you open that generated output here with the command $hadoop_home /bin /hadoop space fs space -cat space the location of the output in the HDFS file system. If you do that, so the word count has worked and it will show you the count for each word, okay. So the thing is like this is into your HDFS file system. You can even move this output file to your local file system. So the point to be noted here is like the output generated is in your HDFS file system, and if you need that file into your local directory to do further searching and sorting in your regular conventional programs, like it might be a Python program or so forth, or you can even apply a neural network program for the generated output. If you have to do that, you have to first move that file back into your local directory, okay. That's just like similar like this command. The only difference is like you have to change this part alone. I am not doing that here because I leave it as an assignment. If you want, you can give it a try with get method here, okay.